back to the football rundown way today, talk about Stockport County once again. It's been a little while since we spoke about Stockport County on the channel. Last week, obviously, with Michael Mellon signed on loan from Burnley. Today was going to be a video where it was going to be a bit of a update, I suppose, on some of the rumours we've had over the last few days. But in fact, one of the rumours I was going to talk about, a Crystal Palace left-back, is now no longer a rumour, as he has officially signed on loan until the end of the season for Stockport County from Crystal Palace. This news has come in literally about a minute before I was about to go and do the video anyway. So it's kind of changed a little bit because I was going to talk about it being a rumour. Now we can talk about it because it has actually happened as well. We're also going to talk about Louie Barry as well, potentially where he may be going this summer. Is he going to come to Stockport County back for another loan spell? Is he potentially going to go to a League One rival, Birmingham City? We're going to delve into that. And also as well, I did go to the community posts. I did ask people what they wanted me to talk about in this video, and I had Luke McDonald, a regular commentator on the channel. He said do a review of pre-season so far. It's going to be a bit difficult for me to do that given the fact I've only been to one of the 3 pre-season matches, but of course we do play Stoke tomorrow at Edgy Park as well, and another friendly. But I think we were due to play Barrow. I think that one got cancelled. That would have been this week, I think. And Stuart Ryan, another regular commentator on the channel, also said about doing a review of retained players, how the new ones will fit in, and also comparison new players versus the players that have left, better than the ones who have left, vice versa, that kind of thing. For me, I'm not going to focus too much on the players that have left because, you know, we're meant to be moving forward. Those players have gone. It's part of the past now. But I will talk about the players that have come in. I've got a squad review, and I want to sort of put them into a tier of how important I think they'll be in this upcoming season. Obviously, I'm excited. We're just over 2 weeks away from the new season starting in League One, of course, when we face Cambridge at Edgy Park. I am looking forward to it, as I'm sure you guys are as well. And if you are going to the game tomorrow at Stoke at Edgy Park, obviously it should be a good one. I tell you what, before we get into talking about the Crystal Palace left back, before we get into talking about Louie Barry, we know there's obviously been issues with Stockport County this week. We obviously know the kit's come out as well this week. As you can see, I've got the new one behind me as well. Picked that up on Monday before the club shop opened, but obviously it's open today as well, the club shop. It's looking decent from the picture I've seen so far, and I'm sure I'll be in there myself, without it being too long. Massive fan of the shirt. It's growing on me as well already. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. That has room to change, potentially to go to a higher rating as well. Like I said before, a lot more plain than the last sort of 2 seasons in terms of style of the home shirt, but I'm a fan of it already, and I think it's a good one, and I'm looking forward to seeing us in it this season. And as I say, looking forward to the new season as well. As I say, just over 2 weeks away, but also as well, we know there's been issues, and ticketing issues. Future ticketing, ironically, I don't think it has much of a future left with Stockport County, but yeah, that's a conversation I suppose for next season now, because they will be with future ticketing for this season. And they've obviously had issues with the Blackpool tickets, the away tickets for Blackpool away, 17th of August, I think it is off the top of my head. They were meant to have a season ticket sale on Wednesday morning. It all crashed, it all went wrong, and then they put it back to this morning. They've now fully sold out the initial allocation, unfortunately, and I'll be waiting to try and see if I get my hands on a ticket on general sale, if it does go on general sale. But I know obviously there's a lot of competition, a lot of people want those tickets, and quite rightly so as well. I think Stockport County are going to be a team to look out for this season. And actually that reminds me, I will be doing my League One predictions video as well before the season starts. Don't worry about that. I'm excited. I'm excited to do it. I'm excited, as I say, for the League One season. A little bit out of my depth with some of the teams. Obviously, 4 teams, have gone up into League One. 3 have obviously come down, so it's going to be an interesting one. But yeah, like I say, good season coming up. Looking forward to it. Cambridge, first game of the season, should be an exciting one at Edgy Park. Then Blackpool away, if I can see it, if I can go, that'd be brilliant. But it'll be a brilliant away game, especially for your first away game in League One as well. Massive looking forward to that. Like I say, there has been issues with the ticketing. I think we've got a lot to get right in that department, because the club it's got a lot of things right. They're starting to improve things, but there's still issues there, and I'm sure they'll look to try and get them sorted over the next few years as well. So as I say, on the agenda today, we are going to talk about Louie Barry. We are going to talk about the new signing as well, which is an interesting one. In fact, we'll get straight into talking about the new left back from Crystal Palace on loan till the end of the season. His name is Tayo Adaramola. I'm going to go with Stockport County delighted to announce the signing of Crystal Palace defender Tayo Adaramola on a season-long loan deal. 20 years of age. He's an Irish international, I believe. He's had loan spells recently in the last 2 seasons at Coventry and also RWD Molenbeek in Belgium, having made 14 appearances in the Belgian Pro League last season, I think it was. Born in Dublin, Republic of Ireland, under 21 international, represented St Kevin's Boys and St Motchlers in Ireland as a youngster before moving to London to join Crystal Palace as under 12s in 2015. He signed his first pro contract with the Premier League side in 2020 before going on to become a regular for the under 23s at just the age of 17. I think he has made his debut as well for Crystal Palace, possibly in the FA Cup under Patrick Vieira. I'm not going to go into the whole statement, you can read it yourself on the official club website. But yeah, as I say, it's an interesting one. I think it's a player, it's an area, it's a position we did need covering, obviously with Ethan Bristow, obviously on loan from Minnesota second half of last season. Obviously going back to Minnesota, we did need covering that position behind Ibao Toure, and I think we've got that in him. And I think it'll be a decent option. Fairly inexperienced for 20 years of age to just have 17 appearances in professional football. I think I've got that right. It would be a little bit of a question mark, but obviously it does also say in the statement that he's been a player we've been looking at for a long time. I think that's a common theme with most of the players that we've brought in this summer. But yeah, like I say, it's a position we need to cover. We can't really talk too much about him because he is fairly inexperienced in professional football, but I'm sure he'll get a run in, and I'm sure he'll offer good competition for Ibao Toure as well. The main news I think that most people are going to be wanting to be sort of watching this for is Louie Barry. Obviously, we know he's a fan favourite at Stockport County. What's going on with him then? Obviously, we know that the owner, Mark Stock, made it clear that there's a desire to bring him back to Edgy Park for this season, whether that's a permanent or a loan deal. We know there's a desire there from Stockport County. I think there's a desire there from Louie Barry as well. It certainly felt like that the back end of last season. What's going on with that then? Because we're almost into the season, as I say, just 2 weeks away, and there's still no update on whether or not he's going to be leaving Aston Villa or not. My understanding is at the moment he's on pre-season with Aston Villa. I think he may have scored in one of the games as well late on. County, like I say, they're keen to make a permanent move for Barry. We know that Barry, of course, scored 9 goals and added 4 assists to his name across 20 appearances for County last season. Unfortunate with the injury, which kept him out for most of the season. But I certainly feel like he enjoyed his time at Stockport County. I think most people would agree with that. And I think it's understood that discussions over a return are thought to have taken place. However, over the last few weeks, Birmingham have looked at the option of bringing Barry in on loan if they can't sign Jay Stansfield. Stansfield spent last season on loan at St Andrews, contributing with 12 goals in 43 matches, I think it was. Although obviously he couldn't save them, he couldn't help save them from relegation. And of course they were relegated to League One. Birmingham are thought to be prepared to make a permanent move for the Fulham forward Jay Stansfield, though he's rumoured to be valued around 6 million, and also has strong interest from many Championship clubs. I think Watford's one in particular that may have interest in Stansfield, of course, the young Fulham forward. It is going to be an interesting one because if they're prepared to pay 6 million, which I'm not sure they are, but if they're prepared to pay 6 million for Jay Stansfield, and let's say Jay Stansfield goes to a Championship team, then potentially they've got the funds there to sign Louie Barry on a permanent. Whether or not Stockport County can sign Louie Barry on a permanent remains to be seen. We don't know how much we've spent this summer, because every deal that hasn't been a transfer, that hasn't been a free transfer, has been an undisclosed fee. So we don't really know where we stand with that. We don't know how much we've spent. We don't know how much we've had come in for players like, for example, Neil Byrne, who did move on an undisclosed fee as well. So we don't know how much we've made in transfers. We don't know how much we've spent in transfers. So we don't know how much is left in the bank. We don't know what our budget was going into the summer anyway. So in terms of Louie Barry, we don't know if we have the funds to sign him permanently. We don't know if a loan deal is something that Aston Villa will be interested in with a player with just a year left in his contract. If he spends a year on loan at Stockport County and then enjoys his time at Stockport County again, he might not be willing to put pen to paper on a new deal at Aston Villa, and Aston Villa might fear losing him on a free transfer next summer. So it's very interesting, like I say, if they can get a fee for him from Birmingham and Stockport County can't match that, then I think it is likely we could see him go to a League One rival, which would be really disappointing. But my belief is he's on pre-season with Aston Villa. A lot of players will be on pre-season with their parent clubs. So it wouldn't worry me too much that he's not in the building yet at Stockport County this season. But it does worry me that a team like Birmingham are also in the race to sign him as well, because we know that they've got money behind them. We know that, yes, they're in the same league as us, but they're only just in the same league as us as they were Championship last season. And they're heavily expected to be back in the Championship again next season as well. They're the favourites to go up. So I can see from Louie Barry's point of view, if it is a decision between County and Birmingham, how Birmingham may appeal to him. Although I'm not, I don't have this on authority, but I think he may be an Aston Villa fan as well. So if that is the case, maybe moving to Birmingham wouldn't be his preference. But then I suppose in football, who you support kind of goes to the back of your mind when it's about what's the best move for your career. And he may well feel that this is the best move for his career to go to Birmingham, a team that, as I say, could be in the Championship again next season. That's not to say Stockport County can't though as well. I think County have made some strong moves in the window this summer, and I do think that it could be an interesting season for us. I won't tip us to go up, but we've got a habit of surprising people in the last few seasons, and I think we could surprise people this season as well. So that's where we're at with the new left back coming in. That's where we're at with Louie Barry. Still yet to really know what's going on, but at the moment it appears it's a two-horse race between Birmingham and Stockport County. Okay, we did say we were going to do a squad review of the 24-25 squad as it is at the moment. Like I say, Tayo Adaramola isn't in this because I did this before he signed, so at the moment I haven't found a place for him. But as you can see on the screen, I've put it into 4 categories of untouchable, important, squad player, and a player that could potentially leave. That does mean on a permanent or on a loan deal. So there's some names on there that I wouldn't expect to leave on a permanent, but they could well leave on a loan deal. Obviously, Hinchliffe is a player which is an interesting one. I think this is going to be a really interesting season. I think it's a really interesting decision for Dave Challoner to have to deal with the goalkeeping situation, Ben Hinchliffe and Corey Day as his 2 number 1s almost. Who's he going to bench? Who's he going to start? That's going to create a lot of conversation, particularly early on in the season. I think for me, Hinchliffe is going to lose his place. I'm not saying that's necessarily the right decision, but I think it is what will happen. You don't bring in a player at the age of 26, 27 in Corey Day, who was very highly rated at Crawley last season. You don't bring him in to put him on the bench. Hinchliffe isn't getting any younger. It does look a little bit like it's the Ben Hinchliffe is potentially starting to make way for Corey Day to come in. So for me, Ben Hinchliffe is a squad player this season. Let me know your thoughts on that. Corey Day, I think, will come in. He's an important player for us, like I've just said. Very, very highly rated from last season at Crawley. We've just brought him in. He's not going to be a squad player. I can't see that happening. So for me, he's an important player. Max Metcalf is a young goalkeeper which has come in, I believe, from Middlesbrough. I think it is off the top of my head. Again, he's going to be a squad player for choice. Can't see him going out on loan. It wouldn't make sense to, and I certainly don't think he's going to have too many minutes in League One. And I said League Two then. He may well have minutes in the Bristol Street Motors Cup or whatever it's called though. So keep an eye out for that if you want to see what he's all about. Kyle Noyle, I've gone with obviously an important role for us going into this season. Southern Males, I think, could potentially leave just because of his injury record. I think I've got this right. He's never played more than 30 games without being injured. So he's never managed to play 30 games consistently. He's always managed to have an injury in between. So that is a worry. And I do think he could potentially be moved on. We had this with Sam Minihan when we went up from the National League. He was a fan favourite. He was very quickly moved on though. This could well happen with Southern Males. No, maybe not before the window shuts, but maybe in the January window. I certainly don't think he'll be ahead of Kyle Noyle. So I do think he's a player that could potentially leave if he has a better offer elsewhere. So keep an eye on it. But I would expect him to be a squad player if he doesn't move on. Fraser Horsfall, absolutely untouchable. I don't think anyone will get in ahead of him when he's fully fit. Brilliant last season, particularly that partnership with Ethan Pye. We've spoken about it several times. Sam Hughes has obviously come in as well. I think he'll be a squad player. I don't think anyone will get in ahead of Fraser Horsfall and Ethan Pye, the form they were in last season. Jid Okeke, obviously he's been part of the pre-season matches so far. I think he's a player that could potentially go back out on loan. I think he spent time on loan last season at Chester, but I don't think he'll get many minutes in this team this season. I do think he'll then end up leaving on a loan deal. Obviously, Ethan Pye, untouchable, no doubt about that. Massively important for us going into the new season. Massively important for us last season. Ibal Toure the same. I think he splits opinion about Toure, but I think he will be important. He will definitely be our first choice left back, and I think that shows with the type of player we're bringing in to replace him. It's a young up and coming player who can learn from him. It's not a player that's going to come in and take his place from the get go. You wouldn't expect. So massively important for us. Ryan Rydell is a player I could see moving on. I know he signed a new 3-year deal recently, but I think that was more to protect his value. I think it is a player that if he gets a better offer elsewhere, more guarantee of minutes, if it's a decent offer in County's point of view as well in terms of transfer fee, again could see him moving on. So keep an eye out on that one. Jay Mingy obviously came in from Colchester. The midfield's going to be interesting when we brought a lot of players in the midfield this summer. I think Jay Mingy will start off as a squad player, but I could be wrong on it. It'd be interesting. Well, I've not seen him yet. He's been injured so far, I think, so I've not been able to get a bit of an idea of what he's all about. But for me at the moment, I've got him down as a squad player. Let me know your thoughts on that. The same with Callum Connolly. I think they're both playing similar positions. I think they're both fairly versatile players. Be interesting to see again how these two players slot in for us this season. Callum Camps obviously came to the rescue late last season, started to have a bit more of an important role in the team, but I do think he'll be demoted to a squad player from the beginning of this season, just with the players who brought in and the players that are back from injury. Cody Johnson's a player that I think will probably move out on loan. I don't think he'll move on a permanent, but I do think a loan deal is likely. We've obviously already seen that happen with Ashton Mee as well, who's gone out on loan to, is it South Shields, to the end of the season. Will Collar obviously back from injury. He's going to be an important player for us, you would think. It's tempted to put him as a squad player, to be honest, because he could potentially be phased out the team with some of the players we brought in, but I'll keep him as an important player for now. Louie Spate is obviously coming as well from Leeds. I think he's going to be a brilliant player for us this season. Tempted to put untouchable because I think he will become an untouchable player for us, but I can't put him as an untouchable when we haven't seen him kick a ball in a proper game yet for County. So he's down as an important player for now, but this is a player that I think could become a real fan favourite, and I do think this is a player that, as I say, could hold the untouchable status in the starting 11. Lewis Fiorini, again, squad player, just because of the amount of players we have in midfield, not all of them can be important players. He, again, a bit like Louis Spate, could end up being a really important player for us, could end up being an untouchable player for us, but at the moment I've got him down as a squad player. Odin Bailey, obviously an important player. We spent a decent fee on him. We don't know what that fee is, but undisclosed from January from Salford on a permanent deal. He's going to be an important player for us. I know he struggled a little bit in the second half of the season once he moved on a permanent, but I do think he'll start to get his performances back up to what they were before he signed for us permanently. And I do think with some better players around him, and as I say, I think he will thrive in this team. And also have a pre-season with us as well, because I can't remember what point he came in last season, but I'm not sure if he did have a pre-season with us. So I think it'll be interesting to see. Keep an eye on Odin Bailey. Obviously a player that is, again, another fan favourite. I think he'll have an important role. Nick Powell, again, a player which we haven't really had, we've not really seen the best of at Stockport County last season. He didn't quite live up to expectation. I think this is a player that could potentially move on. I think this is a player that is going to be phased out. I do see this as a player with quality, but I just think the types of players we're bringing in, I'm not sure where he gets the minutes. I want to be proven wrong, but I don't see where he gets the minutes. So again, keep an eye on this player. This is a player that I think, again, a little bit like Ryan Rydell, if he gets a guarantee of more minutes elsewhere, we could potentially see him leave. Jaden Fevrier, like Jay Mingy, signed from Colchester this summer. I think he's going to be a player which I think will play on the right-hand side for us. I think he'll be an important player on the right-hand side for us. So that's exactly why I've got him there. I want to get your thoughts on that. Not seen too much of him yet, I have to be honest, but I'm interested and I'm excited to see him play. He's obviously expected to wear the 10 shirt as well. There's a lot of faith in this player, so I'm looking forward to seeing him. And if the hype around him is right and correct, then he will be an important player for us. Obviously, Tayo Adaramola has to be untouchable. There's not many players that are going to have untouchable status, because it is quite a statement to say this player can't be taken out of the team, but he is one of those few players which does have untouchable status. The goals he scored last season, really stepping up to the plate, really sort of, made an improvement on the season before where he came in mid-season. And like I say, another fan favourite. He knows how to find the back of net. Shame with the injury he got back in the last season, but I'm looking forward to seeing him hopefully firing from the get-go in League One in a few weeks' time. Michael Mellon, again, a player which we know has got form in League Two for Morecambe last season. 13 goals was it in the first half of League Two last season. Going to be interesting signing. I do think this is a player which will be an important player for us. I'll get onto that in a minute. Obviously, Cal Wootton, you'll see, is a player which I do think potentially could move on, and that's why I think Michael Mellon could be a really important player for us, because if Wootton is moved on, then that means that there's a space there behind Tanto Alafi for Michael Mellon to step up, and we know he can find the back of net in the FL, and I'm looking forward to seeing him have a go at it in a county shirt, and hopefully he can again have a kind of impact which Louie Barry did. I know I've said it in a previous video, but I'm looking forward to seeing him play, and like I say, because he's a player that we know can score goals, you know, that's enough to get most fans excited. So as I say, very much looking forward to seeing him, and I do think he'll be an important player for us. Cal Wootton, like I say, could, you know, I think he struggled last season, to be honest. I think he struggled last season a lot, and I do think that this is a player which could potentially move on, especially if County do try and bring in a player like Louie Barry. I think that would signal the end for Wootton and his time at Stockport County. Jack Stretton obviously injured all of last season. Again, a player which I know is signed a new deal this summer, but I think again could move on. Potentially a loan deal, potentially a permanent. Depends on, you know, what offers come in. Again, most players, if they're offered more minutes somewhere else, you're going to go somewhere else, aren't you? So I think he's a player that could move on. Jack Diamond, I think he'll play on the left-hand side for us. Heard a lot about this kid. I say kid. I think he's in his mid-20s now. He's probably even older than me. Looking forward to seeing him play. I think he'll be an interesting player. We know he's got quality. Very highly rated from a lot of Sunderland fans who have spoke about him since he come to County. Said it's a shame what happened to him. We obviously know about that incident in the middle of his career, but hopefully this is a place where he can come and bounce back from all that, and you know, it's sort of, you know, a sort of fresh start for him. And as I say, looking forward to seeing what he can do in a County shirt, and hopefully he will go on to become an important player for us, and potentially an untouchable player for us. Shea Gardner is a player which, what, 16, 17 years of age, again been part of the pre-season games, looked very, very bright in those minutes I have seen him play. Obviously scored in the game against Chester as well. I think this is a player that which could have a really promising future at Stockport County, but again, I've got him down as could leave, because I think this is a player which could potentially leave on loan, just to try and get some more minutes at a lower level. And as I say, it's one to keep an eye on. He does look impressive when, you know, in the minutes I've seen him play, and yeah, I want to get your thoughts on it. This is a player which I'd love to see try and get minutes in the, you know, the sort of Bristol Street Motors Cup and all that kind of stuff, but I do think it's a player which may be best for his development if he does go out and get some minutes regularly in the National League or National League North. I want to get your thoughts on that though. And then just before we finish, because we've been going on quite a while here, longer than usual, I'm not sure if many people have even had the attention span to watch all of this, but we're just going to go with what I think could be our starting 11 from the beginning of the season. Want to get your thoughts on that. Let me know if you think I've missed any major names out in that starting 11. Let me know what you think of my squad review as well. Maybe put some of your own in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts on the Crystal Palace left back, which is of course signed on loan to the end of the season from Crystal Palace. And of course, let me know your feelings on Louie Barry. Do you think he's going to sign for Stockport County on loan or a permanent, or do you think he could well be making his way to St Andrews? And potentially, if he does make his way on loan or permanently to obviously Birmingham City, maybe Stockport County try and get their own back by going in for Jay Stansfield. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video, of course. Subscribe if you are new. We're trying to reach 1,000 in the next few months, hopefully. But like I say, get your thoughts in the comment section, like the video, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.